Hi guys! So we have been working lately with quadratic equations, solving quadratic equations, factoring the difference of squares. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a different kind of method than what we did last week. Okay, so last week you saw quadratic equations that looked like this. Okay, and then I could tell right off the bat that these are both perfect squares, so I'm going to break this down into binomials. Okay, I know that the square root of p squared is going to be p, so I'll have a p there. Okay, I know that the square root of 16 is going to be 4, so I'll have a 4 at the end of my parentheses. Okay, so now I know that a negative times a positive will give me a negative outcome when we're multiplying. So I'm going to put a positive right here and a negative right there. Then I would put these each equal to 0. And I would solve. So now I'm going to isolate this p. When we bring this to the other side, that 4 is going to become a negative. So we've got p equals negative 4. And this would be p equals positive 4. So these are our two solutions to this equation. Okay, so that's what we did last week. This week I want to show you a different method that we're going to use. Okay, so if I were to move, let's look at this equation right here. If I were to move this over here, I would have p squared. I would move this to the other side. We would be subtracting it, right? So it would be p squared minus 16. Anything being subtracted by something that's the equal value as itself is going to give you a 0, correct? So these were the same kind of equations as what we did last week, okay? This is just a different method that we're using. So I want you to look at, if we were to just do the square root of p squared. So I'm going to find the square root of this side. And what I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other side of the equation. So find the square root of both sides. The square root of p squared is going to give you just p. And the square root of 16 is going to give you 4. And I know that a positive 4 times a positive 4 can give me 16. I also know that a negative 4 times a negative 4 can also give me 16. So it is going to be plus or minus 4. Okay, so that would be the solution to that equation. Okay, here we're going to do the same thing. So we'll find the square root of this side. We're going to also find the square root of this side, because what I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other. So the square root of p squared is going to still be p. I know that 41 is not a perfect square, so I'm going to leave it inside of the radical. And on the outside is going to be a plus or minus, okay? Over here, I will have the square root of k squared and the square root of 13. The square root of k squared is going to just be k. And the square root of 13, it's not a perfect square, so we're going to leave it inside of the radical, and we're going to put a plus or a minus on the outside. Okay, pretty easy. So what I would like for you to do is you are going to go into your textbook to page 404, and you're going to do problems 7 through 13, sorry, and 16 through 18. Bye.
That's not going in.
That's going to be a mess.